Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Adventure Consultants Aconcagua Uncovered webinar. I am Caroline Ogle. I am the General Manager here at Adventure Consultants, and I have been planning our Aconcagua expeditions for at least 12 years now and helped dozens of our climbers reach the summit. I'm joined this morning by Dorjee Sherpa. Welcome, Dorjee.
Hi, I'm Dorjee. I've been working in AC since from 1992, and then I guided in Aconcagua more than 19 expeditions, and then here we are.
Awesome. Well, great to have you here, Dorjee. Wow, 19 expeditions. That is a lot. And let's not forget about your 23 summits of Everest as well. And we all know that Aconcagua is a great training peak for Everest itself. So without further ado, we're really excited this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, to tell you a bit more about Aconcagua and hopefully inspire some of you to come and join us. So Adventure Consultants have got a long history on Aconcagua. Our first expedition there was in 1990, and since then we've had 24 seasons on the mountain, with sometimes multiple expeditions, up to 4 or 5 each season. So quite a number of trips, probably around 70 if we counted them all up. And here in this image here, we've got on the right-hand side of the image, our CEO, Guy Cotter, on the summit back in the day with a couple of climbers. Aconcagua is the highest peak in South America, making it one of the coveted 7 summits. And as well as that, it is actually the highest peak outside of Asia. It's almost 7,000 meters in height, 6,962 meters to be exact, which is 22,841 feet. So Aconcagua is a really great peak if you are on the pathway to climbing Everest. It's a great peak to extend your experience at high altitude without too much technical climbing. And we'll get into all of that very soon. It's a relatively short trip, 19 days, so you can fit it into about 3 weeks away from home. And the climbing season is November to February, so the Southern Hemisphere summer, Northern Hemisphere winter. Its name actually means sentinel of stone, and looking at the image there, you can see where that really comes from. It's a big, prominent rocky peak as part of the Andes mountain range in South America. And people have actually been climbing Aconcagua for a really long time. There have been Inca remains from the 15th century found at 5,300 meters or even higher. So there's a lot of really deep history on Aconcagua. So as I mentioned a moment ago, Aconcagua is known as a relatively non-technical peak. But that being said, there is some really important experience that you should have before climbing the mountain. It is a really tough mountain, so not to be underestimated. And Dorjee, can you tell us a little bit about the experience that climbers should have before they come to Aconcagua?
Well, climbing Aconcagua, what you need to do is at least you have to climb 6,000-meter peak, or Everest Base Camp Trek or Kilimanjaro. You can do that, and have to have a little bit technical skill, which is your ISAC and then crampon, those kind of things. You need to know before you go to Aconcagua.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most times on Aconcagua, you may not need to use your ISACs and crampons, but if you do, you definitely don't want it to be your first time strapping them on. So great to just do a skills course to cover off those skills combined with a high altitude experience such as Everest Base Camp or Kilimanjaro, or combine both with a Nepal 6,000 meter peak, something like Island Peak, Lobuche East or Mira Peak. You're going to get both the altitude and the snow skills that you need there, and same with Ecuador volcanoes or Elbrus in Russia when we are able to go there. And in addition, Aconcagua, it's a really cold mountain and it's true expedition experience. So we are camping high up on the mountains. So some experience in cold weather camping is important, as well as the ability to carry a heavy pack. So making sure that you are training with a pack ahead of time, and yeah, really putting in the work pre-trip. Anything to add there, Dorjee?
Oh yes, there is a, when you go like in Nepal, 6,000 meter peak, the Sherpa is going to carry all your gear. You're not going to carry anything, but you can do back in home. Just put in some heavy gear in your backpack when you're hiking or training. Just put some weight in your backpack and do some couple of kilometers, like at least 1 or 2 days in the week. That helps a lot in Aconcagua.
Sounds great. And we'll come back to a little bit more about training later on as well. But right now we will head into what the itinerary looks like. So we start the trip in Mendoza, which is a beautiful city in Argentina. Most of the flights there fly in either via Santiago or Buenos Aires. And Mendoza is in the heart of the wine country. So there's lots of amazing dining opportunities while you're there. And after the trip, you can also head out for a wine tour and experience that side of the area while you're there. But pre-trip, you're going to arrive into Mendoza, meet up with the rest of the team and your guide for a briefing about what you can expect during the expedition and the all-important gear check. We will cover some more in depth about gear later on, but the key thing is to arrive super organized with all your gear, because there's not a great deal of shops for purchasing those last minute items in Mendoza. So best to get that all sorted ahead of time. Now, on Aconcagua itself, there are a couple of different climbing routes that are commonly climbed, as well as several much more difficult routes. AC climb via the Vacas Valley route, which is approaching from the side of the mountain. It's actually a quieter route, and the trek in is much more beautiful than the other side. Lots of greenery, not too much wind, and really nice campsites. Whereas you compare that with what's called the normal route coming up the Horcones Valley. On this side, it's very dry and dusty, trekking into the wind, and it is very busy on that side. So we actually combine both into what's called this 360 route. So we approach on the Vacas Valley, coming up to Camp Cholera here for the summit, and then we drop down to Plaza de Mulas on the Horcones side, making a nice 360-degree trip around the mountain and experiencing best of both worlds. And Dorjee, what's been your experience of the two routes?
The main thing is, if you choose the normal route, Horcones route, and you against every single day until you're getting Plaza de Mula, you're against the wind, and then it's not fun when you started first day, second day, you're against the wind, which is we go from the Vacas Valley, which is a 360 route. Vacas Valley, once you entrance National Park Ranger Station, as soon as you pass that and nice and green, you're along the Polo, along the river, all the way second days. And then after second day, you leave the river valley and then you climb up on tours to Aconcagua.
Nice.
Way
So
more
let's
better from, yeah.
let's dig into that trek in a little bit more detail. So it is a 3-day trek into base camp. After we left Mendoza, we drive up to our camp here at Puente del Inca, where we stay the night, and then the next day just drive a little bit back down valley to Punta de Vacas here, which is where we begin the trek. And there are 2 camps on the way, Pampa de Lenas, Casa de Piedra, and then heading into Plaza Argentina base camp here. So Dorjee, can you talk us through those 3 days of the trek, please?
Yes, the first day, once you in trance, check your permit, you're nice and valley, greenish along the river, you pass. You know, Bagas Valley meaning cow belly, that you may see some animal around that valley sometime, once in a while. And then it takes from trailhead to the first day is a little over 12 kilometer and takes around six hours and depend on how fast you walk. And then normally we stop every 1 hour and have a drink and a snack. And then second day is a little longer, but the trail is way more nicer, and then it's smoother halfway through getting Casa Pedra. And day 3, early in the morning, remember that you have to cross Cold River. But what I've been doing last 19 expedition, we asked the area, which is a mule driver, we asked them to ride across the river. That is so help. Otherwise, early in the morning, frozen river, bare feet is cold. That's where we've been doing crossing by mule. And then once you pass that river and probably another half hour, and then you're gaining a little altitude. Once you pass that canyon and you're right in front of Aconcagua, you see all the way until you reach in base camp.
Awesome. And it must be quite the feeling to reach base camp after the 3 days trekking. What can we expect when we arrive at base camp?
Well, you know, so once you reach in base camp, you just we have you know, super nice setup, all the camp in there, dining tent separate, kitchen tent separate, and then you just get in there and rest it that day to do nothing. You may have to sometimes help the guy set up tent. Other than that, it's just rest that day.
Awesome. And we've got a pretty fantastic base camp set up here. Here you can see the dining tent. So it's a huge insulated dome with a wooden floor. Incredible food. You can see some fresh watermelon on the tables there, and our chefs are preparing some incredible meals there. We've got a little drink station in the back, and yeah, just a really nice place to hang out. So once we've arrived at base camp, what do the first couple of days look like, Dorjee, before we actually head up onto the mountain?
Well, once we reach in base camp, that the first night you just rested and then you get settled down. The next day, depend on your condition and weather condition. If weather's good, your condition good, we may take that is a Cerro Colorado, which is 4,724 meters. But most time, what I've been doing over the year, let people rest it, and then half day through, and then after half day, after lunch, we just hike towards to Camp 1, maybe like an hour, maybe 100 or 200 meters above from base camp. That helps a lot. And then the afternoon when they come back, we come back down. We just put put your crampon in your boot and just practice around the camp. Just chill out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely being able to relax is key to acclimatizing to altitude, isn't it?
Yes, and then also meanwhile, while you the clients, while you guys are doing preparing your boot pit, we help. But at the same time, the guide we preparing upper mountain food to get ready for tomorrow, carrying Camp 1 next day. Depend about
Sounds good.
condition. We may have to stay another day in base camp.
Yeah, So always keeping an eye on the weather and getting ready to head up. And there is a compulsory medical check from the ranger station in base camp, isn't there?
Yes, they do. Every time when we get there, we have to check your, blood pressure and your condition, what kind of medication you're taking. That is a ranger. That's actual doctor sitting there. We have to sign in there, and then they will check everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly straightforward though, and definitely no needles or anything like that. Great. So when we are ready with our equipment and the weather's looking good, we head up onto the mountain. And we've got a close up of the route here, starting at Plaza Argentina Base Camp. We have Camp 1 up here. The next camp, Camp 2, is also known as Camp Guanacos. And then we have Camp Cholera, Camp 3 here, where we stage ourselves for the summits before dropping down the other side of the mountain to Plaza de Morlis. So, Dorjee, can you tell us about climbing from base camp up to Camp 1? What's that like?
From base camp to camp 1, the first time you may take 5.5 hours. The first 45 minutes or hour is really nice and dirt path. And then after that, you become little glacier rocky, but it's still that is a big path. So you just follow the path. Once you pass that area, and then you're going to go through this penitente, which is amazing. And also penitente different up the down there in South America, the season, spring season or winter season, how much snow they got. Sometimes you may be lucky to see taller than you, penitente sometimes just up to your knee or up to your hip. It's super nice to hike through that. And then just below Camp 1 is you may have to use crampon and axe. Um, Sometimes you may have to use a compound axe. That's where did before when you resting base camp that afternoon you practicing with your compound and boot just way around. If you have a brand new boot, you take that.
Right. So yeah, these penitentes are these ice towers that you can see the climbers making their way through. And these are a phenomenon that is really unique to Aconcagua and the surrounding mountains. So it's really fascinating to see. And yeah, as Dorjee said, some of them can be quite tall, depending on the season. So yeah, it's an amazing thing to experience. So yeah, just before I move on to up to Camp 2, so we do actually climb to Camp 1 twice, don't we, Dorjee? The first time
Yes,
for some
yes.
acclimatization.
Yep. What we do is we say carrying gear came one, but not only carrying gear. It's for acclimatization. You from base camp 4,200 meter to almost 5,000 meter. You hike up and come down, sleep low. That helps a lot for next day.
Yeah, definitely. So we do we do include a lot of porter support for all of the tents and so on. Carrying the gear, it's a little bit of food, but as Dorjee said, we are mostly looking to acclimatize up to that Camp 1 height and then dropping back down to sleep at base camp before moving up to sleep at Camp 1. Yeah, so then up to Camp 2, Camp Guanacos. What does this day look like, Dorjee?
From camp 2 to camp 1 to camp 2 is smoother trail. First hour and a half or two, depend on how fast you going your pace. First 2.5 or 1.5 hour or 2 hour, it's zigzag uphill. And once you reach in, there's a place called Amadino Call where you're starting to traverse. As soon as you reach in Amadino Call, from there to camp 2 is all traverse. There's nothing uphill. It's just really nice white path along the hillside getting camp 2. It's super nice and smooth trail.
Excellent. I think you described it as easy when we were talking earlier in the week, but yeah,
You
climbing at
know,
altitude is never
I,
easy.
it's 7,000 meter, almost 7,000 meter peak. It's not easy, but way more easier than 6,000, some up 6,000 meter Nepal or Ecuador.
Yeah. Great. So yes, again, for the climb up to Camp 2, we are doing that twice. For the first time, carry a small load of gear up to Camp 2, hang out for a little bit, acclimatize, and then drop down to Camp 1 to sleep, and then back up to Camp 2 to overnight. All this time, we're looking at the weather forecast and dialing in when we are going to go for the summit. And when it's looking good, we will get ready and move up to Camp Cholera in Dorjee.
Yes, Camp 2 to Camp 3 is short distance, but the altitude makes a little more difficult. Getting to Camp 3, it's just like 3.5 hours, so slow pace. And yeah, it's a mostly open area and just gravel. Just sometime once in a while, just below Camp 3, you may have to use your crampon and axe. Other than that, normally it's more like a gravel screen, a little bit here and there. Short distance is super nice and smooth trail again. And once you reach in Camp 3, that you will reach Camp 3 early enough, like midday or around 2 o'clock or 2:30, and then all night long you rest until next morning. What you making decision that night?
So what are the key things that you are coaching the group on for preparation for the summit day for that afternoon when you are in Camp Cholera?
Once we reach in Camp Cholera, what we do first thing is just settle down, set up your tent, or sometimes we may get lucky. Our porter who carrying our tent, they help you set up tent. And then once you reach there, we're making the guide, we're making hot drink, and then the clients are just settle down in tent, prepare. And then once we have a hot drink ready, we call everyone together in dining tent and make a decision. What kind of decision we make next morning? All what you need is prepared. It's all like you have to have drink enough for 12 to 13 hours or more, and then the snack. That's all you have to prepare, and then we discuss that part. And then all the snack has to be in front of your jacket pocket, not on top of backpack. It will get cold, and then all the snack and waters get frozen. You will not be able to eat and drink. That meaning you losing your goal. But we've been, not doing this so many years. We know what to do and what to tell, what to prepare. Yep.
Great. So then summit day itself, what time are you heading off?
No, normally depend up how cold is morning. We start from Camp 3, Colorado is like around 5 a.m. And also if that is not much wind, we may be a little earlier because the more earlier the better. And yeah,
And what are people wearing? Are they in full down gear?
yes, yeah, they have to wear, of course, your Gore-Tex top in the bottom and your down jacket, and start with your mitten. Really, really important. Aconcagua, it gets really cold, and of course your 7,000 meter boot.
Yeah. And so, yeah, talk us through the summit day route.
Well, yes. Once you live in Camp 3, Colorado, around from there we same thing. Every hour we stop, have a drink and it's a bite to eat. Which is from Camp Colorado, we go from there 1 hour, which is there's a rock called Black Rock. We stop there. It's kind of shoulder wind protected. We stop in there and have some snack and take a little break. And then after that, sometimes we manage to get Independence here. And sometimes just below Independence Day, we take a break again. And then once we reach Independence Day, it's proper race before you go traverse. And once you reach above Independence Day, it is traverse all the way down nearby the summit. Below summit is called Canaleda, a little cooler. And yeah, and then once you start traverse, there's no place to start. We have to get in the bottom of Canaleda, and they call rock cap, but there's not really rock cap, but it's better shoulder, and you will get sunny by the time it's around 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. You're reaching Canaleda, and then you will get the sun warm up. And then from Canaleda to the summit is 2.5 hours at least, and depend up your pace. And once you reach the summit, and it's absolutely gorgeous. You will see all the way down Argentina. There's an area called San Juan. All these you can see behind that a mountain. Those are all 6,000 meters big. And then if you look at north side of Aconcagua, it's all Chilean volcano, 6,000 meter big volcano.
Wow, it just looks incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like there's quite a good bit of space on the summit there. And yeah, incredible views, as you said. And then so back down to Camp Cholera, how long is that going to take?
From summit to Camp Cholera, depending on how tired you are, probably around 4 hour, 5 hour. If you're, if you do really slow, it's 5 hour, no more longer than that. But from Camp Colorado Summit, it's around 7 to 8 hours on the way up.
Right. And then the next day, after a very well-deserved rest and sleep, dropping back down to Plaza de Mulas. And it's a pretty big descent, isn't it?
It's a pretty nice descent, long distance descent, but it's really quick descent. It's green, sandy. You just slide down, and it's around 3 to 4 hours. Takes from Camp 3 to down Plaza de Mula. But you know, once you get in Plaza de Mula, you will get a really good treat. We do have all this set up dining tent, amazing, all this cookie stuff. They will bring all sorts kind of food in front of you and drink. Have a celebrate.
Great. Definitely looks like a happy team celebrating there. But the big days aren't over yet, are they? We've still got one big trekking day left to finish off the climbing itinerary. So back out the Mulas Valley out to Horcones. Tell us about that.
Okay. Normally we don't go really early from leaving Mula. Just get a rest and then have a nice breakfast in morning. Plaza de Mula. We live around 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning. We'll get down there and trailhead maybe 6 o'clock in the afternoon or 7, depending on how fast you're walking. But you rather want to wind behind you. If you go hike in the Cargona Valley or against the wind, but you're going down, you have a wind behind. It helps a lot, and not you're sucking all the dust. But it's super nice until there's a place called Confluence, and it's really dusty. After Confluence, it's nice and green again for 2.5 hours. And then once you reach trailhead, and then you have a bagel waiting there, and you go down to Mendoza again.
Yeah, back to Mendoza, jump in the shower and head out for a great dinner, I'm sure. And talking about great dinners, let's hear a little bit about what we can expect to be eating on the mountain.
Oh, Aconcagua, we serve all fresh food. We don't use any dehydrated food. Yeah, we take everything's fresh up to Camp 3. What we do is when we have a time but biscuit on the way up, the day after you get a biscuit, we prepare all the fresh food. We vacuum in a plastic bag, suck it and vacuum it, and then we carry in Camp 1, Camp 2, and once once they get in Camp 1, Camp 2, it's same like you putting food in the refrigerator. It just stay fresh. Yeah, and also, sometimes depending on the weather, after camp two, there's a little oven, we can make like pizza or steak or everything. I done a couple of years. That's super nice when you reach in camp and then you have all this fresh food.
Wow, it sounds amazing. And yeah, obviously being Argentina, there's no shortage of great steaks. As you can see, that left-hand picture, that's one of the meals in base camp. But yeah, vegetarians, vegans, do not fret. There's definitely great options, and you'll be well catered for as well. It looks delicious. So we've touched on training a few times so far, so we'll dig into that a little bit more now. As you've heard, there's several days in a row there that they're high intensity days, long days. So definitely the more training that you can do before the trip, the better. This is one of the main factors that's within your control for the expedition is your own physical training and the level that you turn up to the expedition with. So we're looking at training for a minimum of 3 to 4 months before the expedition, but ideally it will be 6 months or more. Hiking with a pack is really key. You can save your knees by maybe climbing, filling your pack up with some water bottles for the uphill, emptying them out at the top, so you're only carrying the weight uphill. If you are living in the city and don't have some amazing treks and trails on your doorstep like we do here, then you might be using a Stairmaster or going up and down the stairs in your building. That's great. Fantastic training, but definitely try and get out for a couple of weekends hiking, at least on real hiking terrain. There's nothing like the real thing. You want to also be incorporating a core strength program into your training so that you do have that core strength for carrying the pack. We recommend joining up with the Uphill Athletes. They are a company that has got some amazing training programs ranging from sort of a do-it-yourself option where you get your daily training program on an app on your phone, right through to one-to-one coaching, or they also now have these great training groups, which are a blend of the two options. So you've got your app, which you're following daily, but your progress and your stats are actually being reviewed each month by a coach. There's some great online sessions to join, and you can also meet up with others in your area to train with, or just support each other in that training phase. And while you are training, it's a really great time to test your nutrition and work out what kind of snacks work for you when you are working physically hard in the mountains. So testing some different muesli bars, testing some gels or goo chews, and then making sure that that's something that you can actually eat while you are out there climbing, because there's no point taking along some snacks and then realizing up at camp 2 that you actually hate them and they're disgusting. And the same with electrolyte drinks. So we've all got our own favorites. There's Noon, there's Goo Brew, and heaps of other options. So test a few out, find your favorites, and bring a small selection along with you. The other thing that you need to spend some time on before the expedition is preparing your equipment. And you'll be supplied with a really detailed equipment list from our office, which explains all of what you need to bring and some recommended models. And Dorjee, what are the key things that people do need to bring?
The main key thing is really, really important, your climbing boot. It has to be in 7,000-meter boot, and also mountaineering glove. A lot of people, what they say, they think the mountaineering glove, they just go and buy a glove like camping around city or around US or New Zealand, just camping, local camping. But make sure the really important is the expedition mitten and mountaineering glove, those two, and a down jacket, of course.
I think this is where we really see that step up from the likes of Everest Base Camp or Kilimanjaro up to Aconcagua being a 7,000-meter peak. It is a huge step. Aconcagua is a really serious mountain, so you are needing to get those proper mountaineering gloves and mitts, and the 7,000-meter boots. Another top tip with the boats is to carry them on in your carry-on on the plane. Occasionally, some bags do go missing on those flights, and it's usually possible to replace all the other items, but boats can be really tricky, especially ones that are well broken in and fit your feet. So definitely carrying those on the carry-on is very recommended. And yeah, as well as the axe and crampons, we do need folks to be bringing a helmet because there are a few sections that there might be a little rock fall danger there as well. But yeah, as we've said, there's not many shops in Mendoza, so definitely covering off all those little details before you come will make for a much more relaxing start to the expedition for everyone. So what is it that makes Adventure Consultants' approach on Aconcagua different from other operators? We know there's a lot of choice out there. AC have got world-class guides. We've got the likes of Dorjee here, who you've heard about his 19 trips to Aconcagua. He's got 23 summits of Everest and a huge amount of mountain experience. We've also got Poppy Spagnoli is one of our main guides on Aconcagua. She's got 28 summits to her name now, and also was the first woman to achieve a winter ascent of Aconcagua, on top of being just a super nice person and a really good motivator on the mountain. We have been climbing Aconcagua for over 3 decades now, so we have built up a lot of experience on the mountain. We have some proven tactics and a proven acclimatization schedule. That means we're not rushed and we have exactly the right amount of time that most people need for acclimatization. Beware of those shorter trips where there might not be contingency for the bad weather that can sometimes hit Aconcagua. We climb by the 360 route, as we've discussed. So heading up that nice Vacas Valley route, enjoying the quieter side of the mountain with the nicer campsites before dropping down into the Mulas Valley. So you are able to experience both sides of the mountain. Of course, first-rate food, as we've talked about, we don't have any dehy or pre-packaged meals. All of our food is prepared fresh on the mountain, so no unpalatable meals. And we've got top-rate base camps and mountain camps. We've actually got dining tents up on the mountain as well, so you've got a good bit of space to relax with your fellow climbers. And importantly, porter support is included for all those tents and the human waste that is produced on the mountain. So you don't need to carry any of that. It's just your own personal gear and a share of some food. And we do have the option for you to purchase some extra porter support if you do need a hand with those personal items as well. Last but not least, you do receive exceptional pre-trip support from our office here. So you'll be connected with your dedicated expedition liaison prior to the expedition, and they are on hand to guide you through the preparation process, make sure that we have all of those administrative details ticked off. And we're now excited this year to introduce our own travel app, which is personalized for your itinerary. You've got everything on your phone at a touch of a button, all of your documents in one place, along with key reminder notifications that will pop up to make sure that you are well prepared. So yeah, we can rest assured that you won't regret joining with AC. We do put as much resource into your expedition as we possibly can to make it a success. Over the season, we've got 3 sets of dates. We've got one trip before Christmas, just starting at the end of November through to the 17th of December. This one can be just slightly colder than the other trips, but it is a good trip as well, maybe just a little bit quieter than the other trips as well. And then we've got through to the 21st of January, heading out right after New Year, and then a late season trip starting on the 24th of Jan as well. So lots of good options to join. If you would like to talk to us some more about joining any of these trips or anything to do with your preparation or your climbing plans in general, jump on to adventureconsultants.com/call us, and we'd be really happy to connect with you for a call and help you make some of those climbing dreams a reality. So that is just about us for this morning. We've been really stoked to share with you a bit more detail on what it takes to climb Aconcagua. It is a tough mountain, but it's also achievable if you put in that pre-trip training work. It's a great opportunity to prepare for the higher peaks in the Himalayas and to test yourself at altitude without too much technical involvement. Any final thoughts from you, Dorjee?
Well, you told already, but it's still there is a thing. So Aconcagua is not only one of the 770, it's highest mountain outside Asia. It's really good for you in future if you're aiming to 8,000-meter peak or any other higher peak. It's good because the altitude helps you a lot. Not that technical, but the altitude helps you a lot.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great to have you all join us. And Dorjee, I've really enjoyed chatting with you and hearing about all your experience on the mountain. So we hope to hear from some of you soon, and don't hesitate to reach out. See you on the mountain.
Okay, thanks for joining us.